Greetings all! Today, we'll be examining the exceptionally rare fire bug-type Pokemon Sizzlipede and its equally rare evolution Centiskorch, the two collectively known as the Radiator Pokémon. Long in form and more than capable of making close contact an unwise decision, the members of the Sizzlipede family are unique insectoids that can more than bring a bit of heat to play in any confrontation they get involved in.
Sizzlipede have stout, flat bodies with a crimson-colored exoskeleton and segmented body form, with a deep red underbelly compared to the darker red shell on top of their forms, their undersides having a series of tiny stubby legs used for locomotion, as well as faint yellow circle markings on each segment that operate as storage sites for generated heat. Their head works as a final segment to their body, with no discernible differences in form from the rest of it, possessing large yellow eyes with red irises, and a single pair of glowing orange front pincers used to slice and dice prey for easy consumption. Their evolved form, Centiskorch, have a similar body plan with a much longer and larger body form, the yellow rings on their underbellies having changed to massive glowing circular structures for greater heat transference to the outside, and they also now have a series of flame jets on the posterior that generates a tail of sorts. In addition, their front mandibles are now larger and located on the sides of their head, having turned a dark red color, while their face is coated with a jet-like X-shaped formation of flames, giving their face a terrifying look when viewed directly from the front. Lastly, it is noted that these beasts have access to a Gigantamax form, and in this state, the bodies of these beasts grow immensely in terms of both size and length, as the radiation pads in their undersides now cover their underbelly completely, the streams of flame on their face also becoming much longer, as they take on a truly powerful form likely to scare many for its sheer size alone.
The members of the Sizzlipede family are fairly unique among bug-type Pokemon for the capacity to wield fire and heat as a weapon, only sharing this distinction with the members of the Larvesta family, but in their case, this isn't due to some external flammable compound.
Instead, these creatures naturally generate an extremely flammable gas inside their body segments that can be readily ignited when exposed to oxygen, allowing them to easily create flames in the open air. However, instead of merely doing this to create fire, they actually take air into their forms and into special ring-shaped sacs in their body segments, where the gas is ignited internally before being pumped through a special flame-resistant organic piping system and out of their open mouth. These sections are readily spotted as yellow ring-shaped markings on the underbellies of these beasts, and make these parts of the body a dangerous place to come into contact with, as they can easily leave burns within just a few seconds of exposure. Their internal body temperature can go as high as 1500 degrees Fahrenheit in the case of Centiskorch, and in turn makes them some of the hottest fire-type Pokemon around. The only reason why they aren't affected by their own heat is because their bodies are coated in a heat-resistant organic compound both internally and externally, and are thus able to handle extreme heat in just about any scenario, despite the fact that they prefer to live in grasslands where soft prey is more common.
Either way, this readily taps into their noted abilities, as their organic form is able to absorb heat readily and can release some of it in the form of an extremely thick, hazy mist, so they can have access to flash fire and white smoke as possible base abilities, while those that can store excessive heat beyond the norm of their kind can be extremely hot to the touch, and in turn can have flame body as a hidden ability.
As far as the stats are concerned in the case of Centiskorch, while the physical defenses leave something to be desired, and the physical forms are not the best when it comes to moving from one place to another quickly, the base defense and speed stats being below average for a fully evolved fire and bug type Pokemon, they do have decent special offenses to work with for a bug type, having an above average base special attack stat for a fully evolved bug type Pokemon, and the other base stats are surprisingly decent and give them quite a bit of power, energy resistance, and stamina to work with, the base HP, attack, and special defense stats being above average for a fully evolved Pokemon of both of their types, making these beasts a far fiercer force to face than one might initially expect.
While Sizzlipede can attack with fire as soon as they are born, they generally prefer to attack and feast on prey in a more direct manner.
As these creatures approach a prey item, they will heat their bodies up to a searing temperature and stealthily slide up and near the creature, waiting for them to lower their guard. Once the opportunity presents itself, they will lunge forward and wrap their entire body around their prey, cooking them while they are still alive and stuck in the tight embrace of the Sizzlipede's coiled body. Once their prey item has been sufficiently cooked, they will voraciously nibble them down with their small but sharp mandibles, leaving absolutely nothing left of them. This notable appetite makes these creatures somewhat hard to take care of, but they thankfully only feast on small mammals and other insectoids for the most part, so they are not quite as dangerous as they possibly could be. Even so, they can make good use of their anatomy in and out of battle, especially since they can heat their bodies up so much that they make smoke from the searing ground. This obscures their form and allows them to more easily get the drop on their opponents, helping these otherwise minor creatures to make a big impact when brute force alone isn't enough to get the job done.
When Sizzlipede evolve into Centiskorch, most of the stats get a huge increase in base value, and they become far fiercer combatants, their fiery parts becoming so strong that, with a bit of artificial help, they can gain access to the Inferno attack, and readily show why they are to be feared by all.
Behaviorally, they are very much still like their pre-evolved form, and enjoy using ambush predation on their own searing bodies in order to target and kill prey items. However, because of how long they are, these beasts must take a slightly different approach on the way in which they attack and kill their prey. Instead of coiling around them, these creatures will instead wait silently in grass for a prey item to approach and, when they least expect it, these beasts will lash out with their bodies like whips, delivering a painful strike with their fiery forms in the hopes of killing their target in a single searing blow, at which point they can dine freely on their prey. If they cannot use their flames to attack effectively, these creatures still have powerful mandibles at their disposal, and they can use them to deliver nasty biting attacks more than likely to leave a painful mark. As such, these insectoids should be approached with great caution, for as rare as they are still incredibly dangerous and can easily make short work of anything that dares to challenge them without a serious type advantage.
It is lastly noted that Centiskorch is one of only a select number of Pokemon capable of undergoing the process of Gigantamaxing, with specific members of these species taking on a unique form when they are Dynamaxed in battle.
In this state, the body temperature of Centiskorch rockets to over 1800 degrees Fahrenheit, enough for their breath alone to cause heat waves in the general vicinity. This heat can be enough to destabilize air currents and even instigate the generation of storms as a consequence, making them a far bigger threat than ever before, and in more ways than one. While this might only be a temporary state for them, the immense power that flows through them while in the state allows Centiskorch to utilize a unique G-Max move known as G-Max Centinferno, which takes the standard max flare attack and infuses it with extra heat energy to create a scorching battlefield on the opposing side that deals continuous damage to the opposition, allowing these monsters as a whole to use the Dynamax power to the fullest to keep damaging anything that would otherwise dare to face them in combat over time.
Much as with Pokemon like Larvesta and Volcarona, I'm not exactly all that keen on these beasts and would prefer to keep my distance, thank you very much. Bug types and heat rarely go well together, and I am definitely one that falls into that category, but these beasts love extreme heat and are quite adept at using it as a powerful tool, both while hunting and when fighting others in a battle. The fact that they mainly use their bodies for contact heat damage definitely makes them different from the only other fire-type insectoid family, as it means that they do need to get close to an opponent in order to make the most of their physical offenses. The fact that they are lacking in physical defense does sadly make this a bit of a problem and can limit their capacity to effectively strike heavy hitters in close quarters, but given their bodies radiate a ton of heat naturally, they can still be a threat to approach without proper preparations. The fact that they can even get access to the rare Fire Lash attack can help mitigate this somewhat, and thus give them some needed breathing room, and given the methods for generating heat, water can be a tricky counter as it can help to shield them in steam, so you might need to be wary about how you choose to confront them if you don't want to accidentally give them an edge in battle. Give them an inch, and they'll happily close it with their pinchers and make it clear where they can beat top predators in the wild, even if they are otherwise extremely hard to find.
Though they might start off rather small and almost cute to look at, the members of the Sizzlipede family are potent creatures that can make good use of their natural powers to scorch and rip apart anyone that dares to confront them. You might need a ton of luck in order to find one of these rare beasts, but it can be more than worth it if you're willing to put in the time to do so.
Just do yourself a favor and make sure you've got plenty of protective gear on if they decide to go in for a body wrap. Even if they do it out of affection, it still might leave you more than a bit worse for the wear if unprotected. And by that, I mean severely burned on the outside, if not charred to a crisp from where they decide to make contact with you.
Thank you for watching this video. It brings me great joy to be able to speak to you all in the world each and every time we meet like this, to explore the many different facets of both the world of Pokemon as we know it, and the world as we live it, through every adventure we have with Pokemon by our side. If you'd like to, please subscribe, ring the bell and all that jazz to keep yourself updated on content uploads and other materials of the like. You can also follow me on Twitter if you'd like to know right away when something new is uploaded, and my written works, from which most of this is based on, can be found on DeviantArt. Links to both can be found in the description down below. Remember that the world of Pokemon is a place full of wonder and mystery, and you never know what to expect. So, stay vigilant, keep watch, and always be prepared for the unexpected. Until next time, trainers and friends of all sorts, have a wonderful time.